Good morning, everyone. Cheap makeup alert. In this video, that we're going to talk about something I ran across in Walmart that gave me the same vibes as when e.l.f. was new, and it's some really affordable makeup. We're talking every piece was 97 cents. So this brand is called In Studio, and I saw it as kind of like an end cap display. There are actually a couple of identical displays at the end of a couple of the makeup aisles, and you could see that the eyeshadows were pretty prominent in the display, taking up most of the space. So I definitely got some of those. I saw face products like highlighters and blushes, brow products, lip colors like lipsticks, liquid lipsticks, glosses, lip treatment type products. The thing to be aware of if you're shopping in Walmart is that some of these things are so small. I think as I continued shopping around the store, there were a few things that I know I picked up, but they fell through like the little grate of the cart at some point, and I didn't make it out of the store with them. So be careful about that. But you guys know when I see things like this, I'm really wondering, are there any gems in this? Is this stuff going to be surprisingly good? Is it going to be really, really bad? This type of thing just really intrigues me, and I hadn't heard a thing about it anywhere. So sometimes my Walmart tends to be pretty early in putting new things out, so that may be the case here, who knows. But I had been playing with this stuff, and I can tell you there are some hits, there are some definite misses. It's very, very clear cut to me. I don't see a lot of gray area with these products, in my personal opinion. There are some hits, there are some misses, it's pretty cut and dry. So I thought I could start here with my face already done foundation wise. I've got foundation, concealer, powder, and bronzer on. I think they may have actually had a bronzer in the display, but I didn't notice it at the time. Now keep this in mind, the size on some of these products is going to be smaller than what you're used to. I say some of these products because the eyeshadows are actually just ever so slightly larger in size than a MAC shadow. In a MAC shadow you're getting 1.3 grams, this is 1.5 grams. The MAC shadow says 0.04 ounces, this is 0.05. But then things like the liquid lipstick, definitely smaller than like this Physicians Formula one that I used the other day. This is 0.08 fluid ounces and my Physicians Formula is 0.21 fluid ounces. Also, just to the naked eye, the brow product is shorter than your standard brow pencils you're gonna buy. So take that into consideration. You're paying less than $1, but in a lot of cases you're getting a little less product. I could see a situation where this would be really valuable is like if you lost your luggage and you're like, I gotta pick up some things real quick. Doesn't matter if you have a lot of them, you just need some things. This brand could maybe be good for helping you squeak by in those situations. But we do have some really good things in here, but we got some not so good too. We're gonna start out with something that I actually think is pretty good. It's their lip scrub. So this is just a little like jumbo stick, and when you first start rubbing it on your lips, you're not gonna feel the scrubby. It takes just a few seconds and then you're like, oh, okay. I can feel that grit. I can feel that sort of resistance and just friction up against the lips. It's sugar in there and you can see it sort of sloughing off a bit. And it reminds me a lot of my e.l.f. stick, really. The scent is really like, I don't know, there's a little bit of a scent that's not so great, more of a crayon-y scent. Not super strong, but like it's not the pleasant scent of the e.l.f., but it does get the job done. It does make me come away feeling like my lips have really been exfoliated. Some pencils like this, I think there was one from Tarte that was this format, and I felt like the entire stick would be like breaking down every time I used it. And it's definitely more effective, I think, than the scrubs where you put your finger into a pot and you're just moving grit around on your lips. Also, they have a lip balm, and this is a very no frills lip balm here. You twist it up, it's just a round clear balm, but it feels wonderful after you've applied that lip scrub. Really, really nice and smooth. Absolutely 0 scent to that. So if you're into the unscented, you might like it. Another lip thing that I picked up, and everything, by the way, is in these little boxes, and it seems that there's some sort of adhesive as well, just a little light adhesive on the product, adhering it to its box on the inside. But I got the overnight lip mask, which I haven't used yet. But now we're gonna move on to the face stuff. And guys, these are a couple of the biggest hits in the video, the blush and the highlight. Really, really impressed by this. I got the blush in the shade Dusk, and this is super, super pigmented. Now I know, I've already used it and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting into. I'm gonna give a gentle, barely any pressure tap into that product with my e.l.f. blush brush. and just blend this out, and you can see this beautiful rosy tone here, kind of an earthy rose, really pretty. I love the way that's kind of coordinating with the shirt I'm wearing today, but it's sort of a mix of rose and terracotta, and so I'm just blending that out here, and I can't believe how lightly I'm applying this. If I were to go back, like, I would definitely pick up some of the lighter shades as well, because I could see the whole line being effective. But this is just a matte finish blush, and I am mega impressed by the intensity there, trying to use it very lightly because it can go pretty hard. Now the highlight, I kind of went for what appeared to be like the lightest highlight in the mix. I just wanted something that would really show and pop on the cheeks, and this one happens to be called Rose Glow. I don't see the rose in it whatsoever. It's just like a light champagne highlight, and get a little bit of that on my brush here, and you will see it is just beautiful. Like, if you really like a highlight that shows and pops. I'm kind of buffing it in on the skin, but I really wanted you to be able to see what that was capable of there. Just super duper intense, and this is 97 cents. So, pun intended, this is one of the highlights of the line for sure. Anything else on the brush, we can use that just elsewhere on the face to give ourselves a little extra. We can highlight our little Cupid's bow here. Do not overlook the blush and the highlight, a couple of the greatest parts of the line. Now, I think they had a mini, like really mini setting spray, and that's one of the things I lost. I know I picked it up, but then I went around the store and I wasn't, like, I was just flying through my checkout, and I didn't notice that I no longer had it in my cart. It fell out, I guess. So for that, I am just gonna use some of this NYX Radiant finish that I'm trying out. So just a few spritzes of that. Now we're going to move on to brows. It seemed like they had multiple different shades. I just got the color brown in this little pencil, and the caps on this stuff is just terrible. You tip it over and it just like shakes off. I see this drying out really quickly, but for the purpose of just filling in a few areas on my brows, you know, it has kind of a little bit of a waxy feel. It can get the job done on me, but then again, I'm starting with a fairly full brow to begin with. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure how much people would like this if they're just starting from nothing. Because look, when I swatch, it's a pretty light brown. Like this, to me, the brown is almost coming off like taupe. You know how some of the blonde pencils get described as taupe? Like this, it doesn't have a ton of intensity. And again, with the cap being so loose, it kind of makes me worry that it might dry out and become even less intense as time goes on. Just saying. That's something Belle has started saying now. She'll work it into any context though. She'll be like, I just saw Betty drop her cereal in the kitchen, just saying. So I think I've helped my brows out a little bit there, and I'm gonna use the spoolie side to brush anything through, even anything out a little bit. To me though, the pencil's a skip. If you can't even keep a cap on, like it's just, you can do better than that for sure. Now they also have a brow gel that I got in the shade, I believe it was called Black Brown. Teeny tiny little brush. So this is trying to be up there with the different little tinted gels like a Benefit Gimme Brow or some of the others, many others that are out. And this adds a good amount of color. I would say I'm applying very light pressure because a little bit seems to go a long way. And it does seem to have some hold, but like there, I just barely touched a little too much, and you can overdo yourself kind of easy with this. I don't think that makes it a bad product, and it feels like it does have some decent hold. I would say this one's pretty good, but if you pick it up, just be prepared to have a light hand with it. Go back and use your spoolie to continue to even out if you have to. They do have an eyeshadow primer here, and this worked okay for me the other day. I'm just gonna go ahead and apply that. I'm trying to really think about what the texture is like. It's a little more dry seeming than, say, a Milani eyeshadow primer, but it can give a little extra cling, help the shadows adhere a bit more. I can see that happening. I feel like I'm gonna have to use it more under more circumstances to tell you for sure how the staying power is. Now the eyeshadows, they have quite a bit to choose from here. These are again all 97 cents a piece. You've got shimmers, mattes, you've got a few brighter shades and colorful shades, a lot of neutrals. I picked up 7 different shades. I would say what impresses me most are the shimmer textures that I have. I have 2 lighter ones. One is called Bubbly and one is called Minx, and they're both really, really nicely pigmented. Apply really beautifully to the eyes. Absolutely no complaints here. They're just a super smooth, easy to work with, shimmery formula. formula. I also got this green called Succulent, and this one is a little bit softer, like the shimmer isn't quite so metallic. It's just a little more pearly, and this one I thought was also really beautiful. Full color, nice even color, not at all patchy. And then in terms of the mattes, I got two different tones of brown. This one's called Tea, and this one is Spice. Not a super far cry from one another. These are fine. I feel like they are just sort of what I expected them to be. Good to kind of get your crease going. I was really drawn in by this one called Rebel, and this one is Jewel. These are also mattes, and I feel like Rebel kind of lacks some intensity, like you really need to build it up a bit more to see the color. It's not going to be one of those, oh, I barely tapped into it, now I'm seeing color like crazy. It's more of a build it up slowly type of shade. And then here's this purple. I feel like the intensity there is a bit more quick to take shape. To me, it feels like the powder products in this line are actually some of the strongest things in the line. You know, the blush, the highlight, these different shadows, they're the type of things I would go back and experiment with some more, really. I am going to start my eye look with this shade called Spice. So this was the deeper of the two brownish shades. I'm just gonna get that going in my crease. Tea can work this way on me too. It still provides some contrast, but it's just a little lighter. I wouldn't have had to have gotten that shade, you know. And they do actually have some testers available, so you could pop them open, give these a feel for yourself. They're just sort of stuck right there in the display. But I get the feeling with the way everything is packaged inside a little like plastic container, they're trying to deter people from breaking into this stuff and damaging it. Okay, so there's Spice in my crease, and then I want to show you this one, Rebel. Like I was saying, I mean, you're not gonna build this one up too fast. Like, I can see the color from it, but it's not necessarily a little bit goes a long way kind of shade, just letting you know. I still like it though. It's like I don't have to be that careful with it. It's not the kind of thing that's gonna blow you away in a swatch, but I think it's pretty as it works into a look. And I wanna play with some of this green. I'm just gonna take a flat brush. I mean, the intensity from the green, so good. Such a pretty emerald, like really true green. I'm just letting that go all over the lid because I got a little on my brush. It is going a long way. I should have picked up a black. I'm pretty sure there was one there. But I just think that green is quite impressive. Really, really nice. Now I'm tempted to go back, and I think I'm gonna just use this purple. Like, I want a little depth on the outside. I know this isn't going to show up true to color purple because I'm overlapping green, but I just want a little more depth on the outside. And this is reminding me, like, singles can be fun. I think palettes are way hotter on the market than single shadows these days, but heck, and you're picking them up for this price. I mean, these could probably fairly easily be depotted. I'm not sure. I'm not a real depotting pro. I sometimes struggle with that a little bit, but certainly an affordable find. And then I'm going to take a little bit of that berry shade, the one called Rebel. Kind of reminds me of MAC's Rebel lipstick, you know? And just get a little bit of that working in the crease again. This is just one of those sort of play as you go types of looks. And then let's take this pearly shade called Bubbly. This is my lightest one. And I want to work some of that inward for you just to show you how beautifully intense that color can be. Great inner corner highlight, and it makes sense, you know, the actual face highlight was really pigmented and nice, and here the light shimmer eyeshadow also really great formula. And doesn't that have a pretty kind of brightening effect on that green? Love that. Now I can maybe pop up a picture of one of the other looks I did where I incorporated this shade, but this one called Minx, just super pretty rose gold. If you're a rose gold lover, do not skip out on that shade. It is velvety soft and so pigmented. Then I think I'm going to do a little smudging below the eye back with Rebel. And just get a little bit of this nice berry shade down here. This shade is kind of hard to know what to think about it because to the touch, it feels kind of dry and there's not like this massive color payoff like you get with a, you know, an ABH matte eyeshadow or something. But in application, it's honestly doing just fine. But the mattes do just feel a little drier, I guess is the best description. Okay, so I've got some of that going around the eye. I'm actually kind of liking this purple. I'm just kind of going back to that and re-intensifying. I can see it just very slightly. Another cool look would have been to apply this more fully on the lid, let some of this overlap it, but I tend to do a lot of purple looks on this channel, so I want to give you some green today. So eyeshadow in a nutshell, the shades I tried, I mean, I can't obviously speak for everything because I haven't tried it all, but I'm pretty much 7 for 7 on shades and being pretty impressed by them. I mean, it was 97 cents a color, guys. All right, the next eye thing I have here is the felt tip eyeliner. This is a major skip for me. Like, I started out using it the other day. I thought, well, maybe this is okay. You got a little tapered tip here. It's not super flexible. I don't love that. But as you go across these shades, it loses intensity so fast. Like, it can't handle going across some of these highly shimmery colors and stay looking really nice and black. So I'll get across one eye all right. But it's almost as though these powders sop up any intensity that this thing was really capable of. So that's kind of sad to see. Here I am halfway over this eye and I'm having to go back over my line a little bit. I can see it just lightening up. And part of it too is when your tip has no flexibility, you have no choice really but to work off of the tip. You know, you can't kind of semi-lay it down as you go. So all the color needs to come right from the tippy tip of the liner. And if that starts getting a little bit bogged down going across the shadow, it can detensify really fast. So that's what I noticed with this. Not the worst eyeliner in the world, but if you really want to have black, you'll definitely need to go back over your line multiple times. Guys, the mascara is another big time clear skip for me. I have it in black. It's this brush that's tiny and yet it's very widely spiraled. So a very old school, like not so much a real modern design to that brush. I mean, it's very short, but we've seen that wide spiral before. And to me, I feel like that's the kind of brush that tends to group lashes together, not really get in there and give you amazing separation. And it just does very little for my eyelashes. But you know, I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna prove it to you. Like, it's just maybe a slight tint to the lashes, but hardly anything in terms of added length or volume. So skip that. Now we're gonna do some lips, and I'm gonna dab off a little bit of this balm. Really feels like a heavy duty balm. Nicely moisturizing, my lips feel great after that exfoliation. And I got a couple of these liquid lipsticks. I'm not gonna be wearing these today, but I was playing with them yesterday, and actually they're pretty decent. This shade called Mischievous, like this is a very pretty orchid color if you're into that. I'm gonna swatch them both here, and like I noted earlier, you're getting a smaller amount than you would from a lot of other liquid lipsticks, but in some cases, like, that doesn't really bother me if I'm just looking to try a new shade, see how something looks on me. This one is called Lips But Better, and I was wearing that shade pretty much all day yesterday. The staying power was good. Granted, it's a matte liquid lipstick, so it doesn't provide a great deal of moisture. It doesn't give me any extra moisture to my lips, really, but it went on evenly, very pigmented, not patchy, and wore pretty darn well all day. So that's Lips But Better, and then above that is Mischievous. So now, one thing about the display in my store, it's not really well lit. So you're getting down there and you're bending down, you're looking toward the bottom, and it can be hard to see exactly what the shades are that you're working with. I got a lipstick and I thought it was just a creamy color. Turns out it's a shimmer. It's a lipstick called Rose Gold. So packaging seems, you know, like very, very cheap and lightweight, and this is gonna be a light shimmery shade. It definitely is gonna look like Rose Gold. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on. You know, it's a light frosty pink. It's not really my go-to look, but we're gonna make it look actually really pretty with the gloss on top. This is the only lip gloss I have. I don't love that it's in a squeezy tube, but I do really like the shade and definitely love the texture. This color is called Burnt Peach. As you see a swatch of it right here, you can tell that's coming out to be a nice little opaque gloss. And on top of this lip color, it really becomes a pretty lip look, I think. Again, I kind of wish there was a wand applicator with it, but whatever, we offered a little grace. It was 97 cents. But as I'm applying it, I'm kind of like working it into that shimmery lipstick and really blending the two things. And I think that turns out to look actually kind of pretty. And I am tempted at the end of this, like, I would love to go over my lashes a little bit more with my superhero because I just don't look like I have anything on there. But do you see what I mean now that I've applied everything? It was very clear cut. Like, the things that were good were quite good, and the things that I would skip definitely would clearly skip. The only thing that I'm kind of left wanting to spend a little more time with would be that eye primer, just to see how consistently that performs. And I wish I would have had the face primer, and I think the little setting spray. Those were a couple of things that I guess I just lost. But here we are, friends. Thank you so much for watching. If you're wondering, by the way, what the foundation is that I've got on, I'm trying something new. This is a new find from Maybelline called Dream Radiant Liquid Hydrating Foundation. It claims to have hyaluronic acid and collagen, and I have that on in nude beige. So that is the overall underneath coverage type deal there. I've got some Too Faced, the sculpting concealer on, a little bit of my Maybelline Age Rewind brightener, dabbed a little bit of my Laura Mercier pressed powder over it to set, used some Milani bronzer, and then that was the point where we jumped into all this stuff. So I would say my biggest loves are the blush and highlight. Definitely look into those if you're passing by this display. I would certainly look into some other shades of these too, because this color called Dusk, very intense. I think I could have gotten by with some lighter shades. Eye primer, gonna keep playing with that. Like I said, the eyeshadows, really, really nice. I mean, the texture I think I love the most would be these shimmers. That would be my light shade called Bubbly, Minx, which is a gorgeous rose gold, and then my green called Succulent. But honestly, no real issues with my mattes either. I would just say if there's something that could hang more with a high-end brand, I feel like it's the shimmers from this line. The mattes do feel a little more dry to the touch, but they apply pretty decently. I need to show you a look where this purple is applied much more intensely, but the shadows, as you'll see in the display, they're the single thing that gets to take up the most like surface area on there. So I think they know that the shadows are good and they're really trying to push those. And they are. The powder products are definitely killing it from this line. I do think their matte liquid lipsticks are actually pretty good. The lipsticks, there didn't seem to be tons to choose from, but they're just kind of like meh. Not anything that's really changing the game. Try to get a close look at them so you can tell if you're getting an all-out frost like I did or something more creamy. The glosses I really do like. I think it's a super pleasant texture, and even for as light as this shade is, it was nicely full color. The brow gel was pretty good. Keep in mind a little goes a long way there. I actually thought the lip scrub did a pretty great job, and the lip balm felt nice as well. I'm not saying with the lip balm like, oh my gosh, this is so good, like throw away your other lip balms and go grab this. No, if you've already got some decent lip balms, I don't think you must have this, but as far as how it performed in the scope of this collection, it was a decent thing. I would say steer clear of the brow pencil, the mascara, the felt tip eyeliner. Again, it just going across my eye looks, it just sort of picked up some of that shadow and really detensified. One other thing I did not grab, I think they had some little like rollerball oils maybe. I remember noticing it and thinking, I'll just skip it, I'm gonna stick to the makeup. But anyway, let me know what you think if you've tried this line. What products stood out to you? What products did not perform well for you? I'd love to get into that conversation with you in the comments section, and thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.